Hi guys, I'm Mike and this is F1 Fanatics. So guys, it is Friday, which means that it is your latest instalment of the F1 Weekly News Show, where we round up all the latest F1 news. Don't forget guys, if you are new around here, subscribe to the channel, click the bell notification, keep up to date with all our latest content, and you can have more videos just like this. But let's get into the news, and there has to be only one place to start. Yes, that was a cheesy line there. We're going to start off talking with Haas. So Günther Steiner was interviewed this week and he has confirmed that the announcement for the Haas 2020 driver lineup will be made before the Singapore Grand Prix. So in this next week, maybe even later today, who knows, we will find out who will get the Haas seat to partner Kevin Magnussen next year. Will it be Romain Grosjean or Nico Hülkenberg? Now, I have seen on social media that everyone thinks that this is an easy decision. I'm with Günther Steiner and I can see the benefits to both and the difficulty with it. So we will start off with what are the benefits of having Nico Hülkenberg. Now, Nico Hülkenberg has established himself as one of the most consistent drivers in the midfield, and so he's a consistent point scorer. I think he has scored 505 points in his seasons in F1 since his debut with Williams in 2010. He's just so reliable and he churns out good performance after good performance after good performance, and I can definitely see the positives for having Nico Hülkenberg at Haas. And also it will be great to keep a driver and a character like Nico Hülkenberg remaining in F1. Also, you have Romain Grosjean, and so Romain Grosjean, for me, well, he has been with Haas since the start, and out of the three of Hülkenberg, Magnussen and Grosjean, he has obviously got 10 career podiums when he was in that competitive Lotus car, and I think out of those three he has the highest ceiling as well, in terms of he has always been a naturally quick driver, and I do think when he does get it all together right, he is a very good driver and a very talented driver on the F1 grid. But there comes the biggest criticism of Romain Grosjean, and that is his consistency. But it all comes down really to what Haas want from their driver. Nico Hülkenberg, for me, is the safe option. He is the one who will consistently score you points. I don't really believe in the media hype of the feud between him and Magnussen being an issue. They are both professional drivers. Yes, they have had their issues on track in the past, but certainly in the circumstances of a new team and being teammates together, I can certainly see them working better. Yeah, Nico is the safe bet. He's going to score you consistent points. If Haas do make a step up and they go back to more 2018 Haas, and so when the time by the 2021 rules come in, they are more competing towards the top end of the grid again, and maybe potentially competing for podiums. Will Nico Hülkenberg be able to be there, or Magnussen? It's tough to kind of say, but they both would consistently be scoring points in a good car. Or do you go with the risk, the kind of X factor of Romain Grosjean? For me, he is a naturally quick driver. He is the one that probably out of the three of them, if they were all three of them competing at their absolute best, I think Romain Grosjean would be the quickest of the three. But with Romain Grosjean, you come with such inconsistencies. Yes, he's been vastly unlucky this year, but he has also been notorious throughout his career, putting himself in risky situations and kind of causing collisions that were completely unnecessary, as recently as the 2018 season back in Spain. So yeah, it's what Haas want, but I fully expect them probably to go for Nico Hülkenberg. The next news relating to Haas, you can tell that this is going to be a very Haas dominated F1 Weekly News show. Finally, they have announced that they have officially split from title sponsorship Rich Energy, and this is really good news for them, because it was off track track business that was really kind of unnecessarily and not wanted for either them or F1 as a sport as well. Whatever they are, Rich Energy, Lightning Volt, yeah, I mean, the sooner they're gone, the better. It will be interesting to see if they keep the gold and black livery for the rest of the season, and certainly will be interesting to see what will happen if they secure a new title sponsorship next year. But yes, Rich Energy is out of F1 and good riddance. To round up the Haas news, in previous Grand Prix, Pascal Wehrlein actually was at Grand Prix, obviously previously racing for Manor Racing and Sauber. He was interested in getting a route back into F1 and approached Haas whether the possibility could be with them, but Günther Steiner shut that opportunity down because he is looking at a driver with more experience to take the team forward, and so therefore you're left with the candidates of Nico Hülkenberg and Romain Grosjean. So guys, that rounds off Haas, and so we now move on to the big news in terms of Formula E, which does affect Formula 1 in some aspects. The current leader of the F2 Championship, Nyck de Vries, has signed for Mercedes E and will partner Stoffel van Dorn in the launch, well, official launch of the Mercedes Formula E team. So that is a really exciting opportunity for him, but a rookie who won't be progressing into Formula 1, which really goes, well, you've got Nicholas Latifi, who will no doubt have the points to get promoted into Formula 1, and we've discussed it before, likely probably will get that Williams seat over Robert Kubica. And then you have a fight between Sete Kamara, Jack Aitken and Luca Jota for that third place that would get the 40 super license points that would allow them to promote into Formula 1. But with Jack Aitken being related to the Renault Academy and Sete Kamara being related to the McLaren Academy, neither have a prospect really of getting into Formula 1 next year, and Luca Jota, there hasn't really been any links with him into the sport, so I expect if we see any new rookies come into Formula 1 in 2020, it will only be Nicholas Latifi. There has been an update on some of the proposed 2021 rules, and that is the fact that refuelling being reintroduced, that idea is scrapped. It will not be involved in the 2021 rules, which obviously I know some of the drivers were angling for because they were trying any way to get the cars to be lighter. But that idea, for whatever the 2021 rules finally come out for, that idea won't be part of them. Now we talk about the financial aspect of Formula 1 for some teams, and Williams recorded huge losses in 2018. They had a loss of $20 million, which is absolutely huge, and you think if they don't turn things around, a business can't keep hemorrhaging money like that. So you have to fear maybe the risk of continued involvement of Williams in F1 unless they turn things around. So 2020 I think is going to be an absolutely huge year for them. Also released making a loss was Renault, and they have pumped a lot of money in. The big surprise for Renault was that they had made the most money they had done in F1 since in the past 3 years, and that was raising their income from $136 million to $146 million, but they still made a loss because they are investing heavily in this Renault F1 team, and they are really wanting to compete with the top, and certainly are wanting to be competing once those 2021 rule changes come into play. They lost a $4.7 million margin this year. Now we move on to some good news in regards to Alex Peroni. He has been released from hospital. The sad news, disappointing news for him is he will not be fit enough to compete in the final round of the F3 Championship, but I think we can all say that is kind of not the main point here. The main point is after that crash we all feared the worst because it was a horrifying crash where he just literally took off on that sausage curb that he is okay, he will not require further surgery, and he is out of hospital. So that is good news all round. This week we also saw the testing of the 18-inch Pirelli wheels on a Renault car. Sergi Sorokin's, Renault's test driver, took them out for a spin. And I think there were some skeptics, a lot of the main skeptics of the 18-inch tyres be how they look. But actually, on the car, and we can't really describe the performance of the 18-inch real Pirelli tyres yet, because they're just in testing. We're not seeing them on the F1 cars. All we can do is how they look. And they look pretty good on the car, actually. They still have that kind of very F1 look. You don't really notice the real difference in that rim size. And so yeah, a real positive look at those 18-inch wheel rims. Obviously we saw them the week before tested on the F2 car, and they will be tested, well, trialled in the series for 2020 with the introduction of them in F1 in 2021. Lando Norris has also been asked this week whether McLaren are worried about the big improvement in performance that Renault made last weekend out, obviously getting that 4th and 5th place finish, getting a huge points total. I presume he was asked this because McLaren are in 4th place, and whether they are worried about Renault. Obviously the two manufacturers share the same engine and are powered by the same engine, but Renault this season have been better on the power tracks, and so in Canada, with a similar sort of style to Monza, obviously not as heavily power dominated as what Monza is, the Renaults also qualified and performed well there. It has been the circuits on the more downforce orientated, which is kind of more heavily predominant in this last part of the F1 season, where the McLarens have outshone their Renault counterparts. So I would still expect McLaren to finish 4th in the Constructors this year, but I think the improvements they made, and if they bring aero packages to improve their kind of overall package going into the last 7 races in the season, I believe Renault will finish in that 5th position, which, with how they started, is kind of damage limitation. Finally guys, to round up, it was the launch of F1 esports this year, and Pierre Gasly, obviously back at Toro Rosso, he is a fan of esports and came out with the comment of it is almost more exciting than the real life action. Now, I think that might be said in a little bit of tongue-in-cheek. The F1 esports is great, and I think it is a really good way of engaging the community with the sport and bringing in a next generation of younger fans kind of enthralled with it, because competitive gaming is such a huge part of the modern world and modern sports world as well. So it's really exciting to see how that season unfolds, but of course nothing can beat that live on-track action. But yeah, it's really exciting to see how that F1 esports season unfolds this year. Guys, that has been the roundup of the F1 Weekly News. Hope you enjoyed it. If I have missed anything, don't be afraid to get involved in the comments below and let me know. Always happy to discuss something that I might have missed. If you like what we've done in this video, give it a thumbs up. Let us know. Don't forget guys, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification so you can keep up to date with all our latest content, and you F1 fans, keep racing. Hi guys, thanks for watching the video today. Hope you've been enjoying the content that we've been putting out. Like we say, don't forget, if you are new around here, you can subscribe to the channel by clicking here. And maybe check out some of our other videos we've done on the channel. We'll have one up here and one down here. As always guys, thanks for watching.